What is up, guys? This is your guy Christopher Watson again, and I know I'm standing behind this Toyota MR2 right here, which is the project car. I know it has been a long time since I have actually updated y'all on what is going on with the car. So, in the last video, I talked about why the car seized up and why the engine seized up. I actually fixed it, and you're gonna see some pieces of that in this video. So basically, the third main bearing actually welded itself together. So I bought some new bearings, got that bearing replaced, as well as the thrust washers. So you're gonna see that, like I said in some of these clips. Basically I had to repolish the crank a little bit. So I got some like 500 grit sanding paper and some like 1200 grit sanding paper, and just really went at it and kind of got it smooth and polished, okay? So basically I put a little bit of oil on there and just went back and forth and sanded it, turned the crankshaft, sanded it, turned the crankshaft some more, sanded it. And it's pretty shiny. Like I said, it's just done in my garage. Got as much as I could get done. So I got the washers, I got the bearings replaced. At the same time, I replaced my oil pump. It was the original oil pump on the engine, and honestly, I have no idea how old the engine was. It's a JDM engine, and we all know that JDM engines don't really have, whoever you buy the JDM engine from doesn't really know the true mileage. But anyway, put a new oil pump on. You'll see me remove the old oil pump, and I got that all put together. So hopefully the next couple of videos y'all see dealing with the MR2, will be started. But we'll see. All we can do is hope, wait, and see. No further ado, here you go. Here is me putting the new bearings on, sanding the crankshaft down, and removing the oil pump. Unfortunately, the clip that I thought I had of me polishing the crank or sanding down the crank was corrupted, so now all I have is just the installation of the bearing. So anyway, right here we see that I'm installing the bearing on the third position of the crankshaft. I'm actually using kind of like a popsicle stick to push it in, and then I'm rotating the crank using a popsicle stick again to push the bearing up, and it actually worked. I used the wood popsicle stick because it wouldn't scratch the crank as much, or it wouldn't scratch the crankshaft compared to like a screwdriver or anything like that. Now I'm actually installing the thrust washer, at least one of them. There's actually 4 different thrust washers, so 2 go on the top side of the crankshaft, and then 2 go on the bottom side of the crankshaft. That actually goes with the main bearing cap. But anyway, you can see the 2 top thrust washers. Now I'm installing the main bearing cap, and that is one of the thrust washers. It actually has to go in a certain way, because there's like 2 different little spots that actually I guess are openings for oil passage. Anyway, you got to make sure you put those on correctly. And then there's the second thrust washer for the main bearing cap. So as you can see, I put a lot of oil on there. You want to make sure you oil all your bearings, all the parts that are going to have moving parts on them. So I put one of the main bearing caps screws back in, and then I put the second one in, and as you can see, I'm just kind of hand tightening. Now, I actually used a ratchet there. I did actually use a torque wrench to torque that down, but I just didn't have it in this video. And I was turning the crank just to make sure that it would turn. Now, here we see the removal of the oil pump. Like I said, this oil pump is the original oil pump. I have no idea how many miles is actually on that oil pump, but when I first cranked the engine, it obviously didn't have enough oil pressure because my main bearing, like I said, welded together basically. And the oil pump removal is pretty straightforward. I believe they're like 10 or 12 millimeter bolts or screws, or it's nothing abnormal, no abnormal head sizes. But once you remove them, the oil pump is pretty easy to take off. And you can see all the rust on that oil pump. So basically, when I installed the engine and put all the coolant and all that stuff in there, coolant actually leaked out of my water pump, so I have a brand new water pump on there. So seriously, this engine is basically, it's rebuilt and pretty much brand new. So here I'm actually removing the oil pump. Basically, you have to kind of hit it with a little hammer just to kind of get it loose, and then you just pull it off with your hand. It really isn't that hard to remove, and you have to kind of finagle it to get out. So y'all just saw me get that on, get all that cleaned up and polished. Hopefully y'all guys enjoyed. We will catch you on the next video. Peace out, and keep a positive attitude, guys.